Greetings, this is July 17th. We're looking at a map of British Columbia, and most of the new infrared that's appeared since midnight has been located in the lower half of the province. Generally, there's fewer new infrared in the most recent satellite updates. There are a few spots of concern around the lower Arrow Lakes, and it looks like the fire to the east of Ashcroft has moved north a bit. The fire at Flat Lake seems to be holding still as far as the infrared goes. A lot of smoke in the area, but it's kind of moving off as these southwest winds come in. We'll take a quick look around the province and keep in mind that some infrared can be obscured by smoke and haze and cloud. There is a lot of cloud that's moved in. It's kept things a little bit cooler. Here we're looking west of Castlegar. This is the area around the Arrow Lakes. We can see that wind movement is coming from the southwest, but then when it hits the lake, it starts going directly north. There's been some expansion in the infrared around here. So if you're in the area, go to the BC Wildfire situation map. It's in the links below. And if you're in the Grand Forks area or north of Christina Lake, there's this other fire I've been watching. A lot of infrared still in a cluster north of Christina Lake. Most of the new infrared appears to be on the northern flank of that fire as the south and southwest winds push it up. We're moving west to the Okanagan Valley. This is a fire southeast of Skaha Lake, and we can see that there is expansion on the north and eastern flanks. It appears to be moving eastward or creeping that direction towards the Okanagan Plateau. It does appear to be growth, and the southern flank appears to be right along the Allendale Lake Road. That's kind of the southern perimeter of the fire. Moving north into the Shuswap, we can see a lot of smoke and haze from yesterday. These are satellite images from yesterday. The new satellite images haven't updated right now at 10 o'clock in the morning. And just right of center of the screen, that valley there is where Revelstoke is. They were getting it thick. We can see how the smoke fills in the low-lying areas. But if we jump to just a generic background screen, we can see there's fewer infrared expansion. The new infrared looks to be more or less in place. Not a lot of growth apparent there. That's a good sign. We've moved into a screen around Cache Creek, the Kamloops area. Kamloops is lower right-hand side of the screen. Up at the top left, we can see the fire around Flat Lake. This is a screen from yesterday, and if we look to the lower left, we can see the fire around Lytton, and it had some expansion moving eastward. If we take a look at the wind today, mostly coming from the southwest, but there are pockets as they swirl around the terrain. They might start coming from the southeast. There's this calm patch around 100 Mile House, Canham Lake. Things have slowed down there. Looking at the forecast, winds have been subdued, and looks like gusts mainly from the south in the afternoon. There could be some gusts from the west tomorrow. There's some cloud cover cooling things down. Might start getting a little warmer on Monday. There's a similar pattern when we look at the weather system around the Okanagan, southeastern BC. Most of the winds are coming from the south, but as they spill over the mountains into the Okanagan, some of those breezes can appear to come from the northwest. There is an area of calm to the west of Grand Forks, and hopefully that gives firefighters around Christina Lake a break. We're jumping now to the Cache Creek, Ashcroft area. We can see the Modus infrared when it came in just after midnight. There was expansion to the north towards Juniper and Highway 1. Here we're looking at the VIIRS when it came in a little bit later, and definitely expansion into that forested block south of Juniper to the west of Wallaking. Very similar pattern of behavior. If we jump a little bit south down to Lytton, we can see eastward movement and some movement on the north side of the Thompson. It's pretty much at the bend in the river where it heads north towards Spence's Bridge. So because of the winds in the area, if you're north and east of these fire lines, you want to be aware. Check out the links below and know what your access routes are. Check with DRIVEBC. Some good news, no new infrared around the chasm area that's north southeast of Chasm. That's in a forested block. It was heading in a northeastern direction on the eastern side of Highway 97, then moving north up to Flat Lake. Most of that new infrared is within existing fire perimeters. There appears to be no expansion towards 83 Mile Lake or Highway 97. That's a good sign. However, be aware that northern flank, there looks to be a few indications of heat on that previous northern perimeter. Jumping over to Canham Lake, which should be in some relative calm as far as the winds go. The only new infrared I'm seeing is to the southeast, and it looks to be within existing perimeters. Moving south to the area around Bonaparte and Young Lake, I'm not seeing any new infrared to the southeast of Young Lake. That's a good sign. Keep in mind things may be obscured by smoke and cloud, so we may not be getting all the data. If you're in the Young Lake area, please check with the BC Wildfire Map and find out what their recommendations are as far as the evacuation orders and alerts. Back to windy again. There is some reasonable calm around the Kamloops area at the bottom of the screen, but then up on the Bonaparte, the winds pick up. They're moving from the south. The coloration tells me about 12 to 17 kilometers an hour. And if we zoom into the area around Chris Creek, we were watching for eastward movement towards the Bonaparte. It seems to be holding still. There may be slight movement, but zooming in further, we're looking that it's right up against Sawmill Road. That's an FSR. So again, if you're in that area, be very aware of what your access routes are, especially if there's gusts in the afternoon. We'll take a look at the fire that's east of Nicola, north of Chapperton, and southwest of Falkland. Yesterday's infrared was showing this growth heading in a northeasterly direction, fairly extensive infrared clusters, but today's new infrared since midnight is only really showing new hotspots on the southern flank and within the existing fire perimeter. So there may be a similar wind situation that they have in Okanagan Falls, where the winds are coming from the west and the southwest, but as they hit this terrain, they swirl over and come a little bit from the northwest. There is that area of calm to the north around Kamloops, so hopefully that extends to this region and they can get a break today. Looking at the Okanagan Connector around the Panas Summit, only seeing 3 infrared hotspots. It seems to be more or less aging in place, so that's a good sign. Usually very windy up there, so one to watch for. So again, most of the new infrared is clustered around the Arrow Lakes region west of Valhalla. This is windy coming from the southwest. We're seeing that expansion pushing right up to the western shore of the lake. There's also that fire on the eastern side of the lake. Here we're looking at the satellite imagery from yesterday. We see one smoke trail near the bottom that's moving from the southwest, whereas it hits the lake and then appears to go north. One bit of good news, not seeing any infrared around the Bombay Pass area. That's southeast of Castleguard. And finally, we'll take a quick look around Highway 16 north. This is west of Prince George. This is imagery from yesterday, seeing a lot of fires. Nechako Reservoir, Chief Lewis over on the left-hand side of the screen. And then around Nazco, big streams of smoke. Today, I'm not seeing any infrared. So that tells me that those heat indications may be obscured by smoke and cloud. There may be cloud cover moving in. I don't have the new satellite imagery for today yet. It's something to check on. I'm not buying that there isn't any new infrared there. I believe it may be obscured. So we're back looking at a screen of the province. Well, most of the province, the lower 3/4, and again, most of the new infrared that's showing up since 12 midnight is in the southern interior and southeastern BC. So the ones to watch for are around the Arrow Lakes, watching for movement on that Tremont fire to the east of Ashcroft. Also Lytton moving eastward along the Thompson River. That's one to watch. And of course, down in Okanagan Falls, it might be going in a southeasterly direction and up towards the Okanagan Plateau. And of course, there is some good news stories. Flat Lake seems to be holding, no new infrared around the chasm area. But we also want to be cautious looking at the fire southwest of Falkland. Does not appear to have great expansion eastward, but there is some new infrared consolidating on the southern perimeter, so be careful around there. This is again a satellite image from yesterday showing smoke accumulating in the valleys. Wind was quite variable, hard to predict as clouds rolled into the area, but today hopefully it'll be clearing. We'll check back at the satellite imagery and see if we've had some positive change. If you're out and about, please let friends and relatives know where you're going, and be stealthy, be smart, and keep your nose to the breeze. Thank you very much for watching.